Hey party people, welcome to a very special episode of the Party of One podcast in which we play a game not designed for two players. I know, I don't think it's going to work either, but we're going to see how it plays out. Joining me for this special playthrough of Mission Accomplished, the game that I wrote of Super Spies and Office Meetings on Kickstarter at this very second, check the show notes for more information, are three of my wonderful good friends, and I can't wait to play this game with them. So, why don't we introduce, we have Bryan.
Hi, I'm Bryan. Hey. He, him, pronouns, this podcast stuff, I guess.
Yep, we'll get to all the podcast plug stuff at the end, I figure.
Sorry, I'm used to just going into that.
No, it's fine. I'm switching up the format a little bit because I want to get right to the game because I'm very excited. We have Ammouraz.
Hey, I'm Ammouraz. They, him pronouns.
And we have Meghan Dornbrock.
Hi, hello. She, her, please.
And my pronouns are he, his. We are playing Mission Accomplished. Mission Accomplished is the role-playing game of Super Spies and Office Meetings. The premise is you are a team of secret agents, the best and brightest that the world has to offer, and you've just returned from stopping the bad guys, saving the world, halting the apocalypse, blowing up the doomsday device, and now you are back in a cramped little office room to meet with management to hash out who gets the credit for all the things that went right, and who gets the blame for all the things that went wrong. And there are some very specific things that went wrong that we are going to get into in a moment that you are going to come up with, because the first part of the game is I explain to you the mission that we undertook, and then you tell me how you banged it up. You tell me how you bungled, sort of, the operation got bungled. Some things went wrong that are big, no one knows who's responsible, and we're going to sort of hash that out in the meeting itself. That said, if we're going to figure out what went wrong on the mission, we need to know what that mission is. So I'm giving you all the mission dossier. The mission in a nutshell. Villains, that is, the vast international league of larcenists, arsonists, and inventors of nefarious science. One of their accountants, the Bull, has entered into an illicit underground poker tournament on international waters, carrying with him a considerable amount of money earmarked for future villains' operations. If that money could be recovered, it would greatly hinder their capabilities for future operations, and possibly convince the Bull to seek sanctuary with the Hero Department. That is the United Nations Department of High-Risk Operations. They're the heroes, if you can't tell by the name.
Yeah.
I actually kind of thought they were evil, but you know.
It's shades of gray is sort of what it is, really, when you get into it. So, you have the mission dossier in front of you. It gives you a number of secondary objectives, key locations, notable NPCs, props, and most importantly, vital office protocols, because just because we're on assignment doesn't mean we don't follow the rules. That's what makes us heroes. You're going to look through this dossier, you're going to take a moment, and you are going to tell me one big thing that got messed up on the mission that we don't know who is responsible.
Yeah, it has to involve bit chips. I like that too much.
Bit chips is real good.
Oh, God.
Is bit chips a legitimate currency?
I hope so.
Is that how this went wrong? We've legitimized bit chips?
Oh my god.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Bit chips is legit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god. That's terrible. I hate it and I love it. Bit chips is legit, and it means that everybody that did own bit chips now has, like, a tremendous amount of real money.
Ugh.
And given everybody that invested in this, like, terrible cryptocurrency, that's not good.
Oh, man.
God.
They're even more insufferable than they were.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
I like the idea of, like, something incredibly mundane in the sense that we have just blown our travel budget.
Blown the travel budget.
Just destroyed it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah.
That's super good.
Snacks in airports are super expensive, but they're so worth it.
$50 per day or $50 per diem for food and incidentals is like that's not a good per diem.
That's not a good per diem at all.
Oh no,
they
that's
really
like
probably afford more.
2 bags of combos in the airport.
Yeah, it's not my fault that the coffee costs $20 and it's so good. Red mediocre.
Look, it's a good Starbucks. It's a good airport Starbucks.
Yeah.
It's not one of the lousy ones.
It's not like the time when I went to get black tea and they gave me Earl Grey.
I'm going to add... Mission to Control also adds it. I always forget that I also add a thing that went wrong. I'm going to add...
I feel like we tried to rig the tournament and failed, so we ended up having to win manually.
The tournament wasn't... You won honestly, and we're, like, a little upset about that, because, like... that means that we put in a lot of resources into rigging the tournament, and that they didn't work means that you did something wrong. Because it never means that I did something wrong.
Yeah.
Because
Right,
Mission
right,
Control
right.
doesn't do things wrong.
No, of course not.
Oh, that's really good. I'm also going to add, related to that, somebody won a lot of money playing, what's the least cool form of gambling?
It's slot machines are easily the least cool form of gambling.
Somebody won a ton of money on nickel slots, and so
Yes.
like our accounting team is just forced to like count nickels.
Yeah, because the villains wouldn't give it to us in literally any other format but nickels. Just start pouring out of the machine.
Once bit chips went legit, they have to give you it in like an actual currency. That's so
God.
good. Okay, so good. Really, really. Okay. So now that we know what has gone wrong on the mission, it's time to meet our agents. I'm going to ask you for the following pieces of information. First, your best spy name. These can be puns, these can be code names, these can be aliases, whatever your best spy name is. Second, your specialty, why you were deployed on this particular assignment. Whether it's, you were the explosives expert, you're a world-class gambler, you're an intern on a ride-along, you're a cafeteria worker sent here by mistake. Whatever your role in the company is that led to you being deployed on this boat. And third, for now, there's a fourth thing that we'll get to in a bit, but now the third and most important thing to me is a fun fact. Something to help us get to know you, because we're not just a company, we're really more of a family. Just so many nickels.
So many.
It's like $10,000 of nickels. It had to be shipped back.
Why they had nickels in addition to bit currency is they didn't explain it.
Right, and then we had to FedEx it back to the office because it can't fit it on a plane.
Yeah, they wouldn't take it.
We had to put them in like 100 envelopes to get them all in
just
because we didn't have any packages. We just had
duffel
envelopes.
bags full of nickels.
Yep.
Oh my god.
And they're charging you by weight, so the envelopes are so expensive.
I feel like we lost money in the process.
God. Okay. Names are straight up the hardest part of every game.
Yeah.
I have like a month to figure out a good like internet meme name generator thing of like it's your cat's name plus your favorite tree. I'll figure something out and it'll come out cool and spy-like. And much like all of those, it's just going to be like what's your name's your social security number and your credit card number.
Yep.
Your blood type.
Okay, I'm gonna do my cat's name and my tree, and I'm gonna be Dennis Birch.
Dennis Birch. That actually works really well.
Yeah, right. It's good.
That's like a name. That's like a real person's name.
Yeah. Jeff, you nailed it. Got it in one.
Got it in one. Swish. You heard it here first, party people.
Okay. I think I've got my person more or less figured out.
All right.
Okay. So, my person is, so you needed like, what were my things I needed again?
Oh, we
You
need
need
more
a name
things.
Specialty, fun fact.
and a fun fact.
Okay, cool. His name is Wyatt Vancroft, codenamed the Phoenix. He's the gadget guy. He's like basically M, but he's also a field agent. Mm-hmm. And fun fact is that like he and his boyfriend raise birds.
Oh, that's lovely. That's so lovely. I love that. I'm all about that. That's very good.
Yeah.
Well, Dennis is clearly a numbers guy. Like that's a nerd name if I ever heard one.
Yep,
That is
a nerd
entirely a
name.
nerd name. Yeah.
Yeah. So his specialty is probably accounting.
Oh, he's the accountant.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Fun fact.
For the fun fact, my point of reference is always if you had to give a fun fact in like the worst office meeting you've ever been a part of, and it like comes to you, what's the fun fact that you would give that's not like really you, but that the one that you would be like, I'm gonna use this, and it's there that's just gonna gloss over me. I want to specifically direct attention off of me with an okay fun fact.
Okay. Well, one time Dennis was one of those balloon wranglers in the Macy's parade.
Oh my god. It's so good.
Yeah, that's my fun fact.
Were you a balloon wrangler?
I was.
We're going to have to talk about this after the recording because I have so many questions.
That is exciting, honestly.
No. It's surprisingly not.
Yeah.
I know that field. Usually my fun fact is like I worked at an amusement park in their theater department. They're like, oh, did you... Like I worked at Dollywood. And they're like, did you ever meet Dolly Parton? I'm like, yeah. They're like, how was that? I'm like, she's really short, I guess.
Yeah.
She's nice. Like...
It was like being in the same room with a person, I guess.
Yeah, I had a show to run and she had a show to be on, so, you know, like...
So you're best friends now.
Yeah.
I mean...
She knows what she did.
Yeah. All right. I think I've got my name.
All right.
And that's Cerulean Tango.
Oh,
my
so good.
Wow.
And, they are the soft, friendly type that will easily get into a fight and take someone out. But they just seem so soft and cuddly and friendly.
Soft and cuddly.
And their fun fact is that they speak 2.5 languages.
Yes.
I love it.
And I also want to feel like it's not like they speak 2 languages and half a language. I think they speak 1 language and 2 languages to like 3/4.
Oh, got it.
Oh,
yep,
good.
That makes, yep. They can like, they have 2 languages worth of conversational phrases.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. I love it. I
Those
love
numbers
it so
check out.
much.
Yep.
That's so perfect. Oh my god. This is good. This is a good group. Okay. So we've met our agents. We have White Vancroft, our gadget expert, raises birds with his boyfriend in his spare time. We have Dennis Birch, company accountant and one-time balloon wrangler in the Macy's Day Parade. And we have Cerulean Tango, a soft, cuddly killer who speaks 2.5 languages. So now that we've met our agents, now that we know the mission, it is time for the most important part of the operation, and that is ratting out your coworkers.
Fantastic.
Here's how this is going to work. You are going to look at the other 2 players. You're going to think about their characters for a moment. You're going to think about the mission for a moment. One of those 2 characters did something to really help the operation along. The other did something to really bungle things up. You're going to pick one of them and write down the thing that they did well, and choose the other to write down something that they did poorly. You're going to anonymously message me those on Discord, and then I'm going to reveal them to the group over the course of the ensuing debriefing session.
Oh, should I have dice?
Yes, but also a dice roller works equally well.
What dice are we going to need for this?
Just a bunch of 6-sided dice, ideally 2 colors, but you can also just roll them twice if you just make a note of the numbers that you roll. That's the only thing
good.
the thing that matters with the dice that you roll is not the sum total, it's the individual numbers. All right, so thank you all for coming in on a Saturday morning. I know that it's off schedule. I know this is technically overtime, but it's vitally important that we, get to the bottom of this, that we analyze the mission as soon as possible while it's all still fresh in our minds, because we really want to just understand what happened on the field. Obviously, we weren't there, you were, so we want your perspective as soon as possible. We really appreciate it. Help yourself to a Danish. Unfortunately, there's only boysenberry left, and they are a little bit old, but feel free. They're all yours.
I like them a little chewy.
All right, you're perfect then. You're great. So first off, the first thing we're going to do is, obviously, we want to recognize success. So I want to ask you, in your own words, what's one thing that you did to help contribute to the mission, the primary objective of the mission, which was bankrupting the bull, divorcing him from his villain's earnings? Let's start with Wyatt. Wyatt, you were deployed on the mission. What's one thing you did to help advance the primary objective of the mission?
Well, not to brag or anything like that, but I feel like the tracking the fake briefcase to switch out with the bull's actual briefcase full of earnings, the one that was loaded with like all of the fake money that was all microchipped and that we could track from satellites. I mean, it's just a little something that I cooked up, but I feel like it was pretty vital.
That is pretty vital. That was spectacular briefcase work. We really appreciate that. Take a commendation dice for that. Commendation dice are how our algorithmic promotion program is going to determine who is most likely to get a promotion at the end of this. Because there is a promotion on the table. The one with the corner office, with the floor-to-ceiling windows and the company credit card. So you take a commendation dice. The way that you're going to roll these at the end of the game to help determine if you have earned the promotion. Dennis, what have you did? What did you what in your own words? Tell me about one thing you did to sort of advance the primary objective.
To help bankrupt Bull, of course.
Yes.
I like to think that what I did was pretty clever, and that is that most people don't handle numbers quite the way I do. So I think I was able to confuse the Bull and trick him unconsciously into betting more money than he may have intended to, thus bankrupting him much faster than we would have otherwise.
Love it. Really, really clever. We appreciate that attention to detail here. Take a commendation dice. Cerulean, what's one thing you did to help advance the primary objective?
Well, I mean, there were, how do I put this? A lot of guards that Bull brought with him in order to ensure that their security was upheld and that no one would try to pull what we did. Mm-hmm. And I say there were guards because there aren't any more.
The better, less said about that, the better. Am I right? Am I right? Take a commendation dice. Excellent work. So we now that we've had some time to analyze our successes and feel really good, let's get into some of the tougher subjects, right? We've shared some laughs. Let's get into some tougher things. Let's talk about getting onto the boat first and foremost. Specifically, let's talk about the travel budget, because I'm looking at some numbers here, and it says that you were 400% over budget for the week before you got on the boat. Could anybody maybe explain? Does anybody maybe have a handle on that, on like where that money went? What happened that maybe, did somebody happen to spend more than they were supposed to? What happened here?
I mean, Dennis is the one who's supposed to handle the money.
That's
true. Dennis is our numbers guy.
That is very true. And I have this paperwork here that suggested we would run into certain prices for necessities along the way. And it comes to my attention now that this paperwork is from 1986, so it's a little outdated. Prices were much higher than we anticipated. I think you'll see.
So what you're saying is that you didn't update your financial paperwork before the operation.
I think we had some bad intel from the research department.
I mean, you did get that research like 2 weeks in advance.
You did. We do ask that you submit those paperworks 2 weeks in advance, so you should have had time to analyze that before. It sounds a bit like it doesn't seem like seems like you weren't really on your game. That doesn't really feel like financial responsibility to me. I'm going to have to issue a citation for that.
I'm sorry, I'm dying.
numbers with a $sign in front of I'm very good at those. Dates, not so great. So
you know what? That I'm going to give a commendation dice for. That's owning your failures. That's a real commitment to personal development. So take a commendation and a citation dice. Citation dice are very bad. Even one citation dice can tank your chances at a promotion, or it can do literally nothing. The algorithm is very complicated. You want to avoid getting citation dice if at all possible. Spoilers, it's not possible.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate that. We appreciate you kind of owning up to that, Dennis. So.
All right, well.
So, yeah. So, we understand that you were over budget getting to the boat. We also see some charges here for a lot of luggage fees. It seems that Wyatt brought a lot of exploding gadgets, but it says here, the report says, somebody felt they were not useful gadgets. Could you justify the gadgets that you brought on the assignment, Wyatt?
Well, I mean, to say that you don't know exactly what situation you're going to run into, so you need to plan for every possible outcome. So I planned for every possible outcome. I definitely tried to ship them to the target, but I was running into issues with customs, and I didn't want us to get onto the boat and say, like, need to cut into a safe or vaporize a guard, or, hack into a computer. So, I didn't want us to be, like, left in the lurch, so I just kind of brought what I thought we needed.
Sorry, go ahead, Dennis.
No, it's just interesting to me that you lay out all of these different scenarios, and yet your solution continues to be blow them up.
And
It's also worth noting that the tournament ended up not being rigged in the way that we thought it was going to, which was sort of a mechanical, computerized issue, which seems like it would have fallen into your purview.
I would also like to suggest that most of these problems could be solved without fancy gadgets. Fist meet safe, fist meet wall, fist meet guard.
Sure. See, we've got
but
cerulean here.
it doesn't have the pure simplicity that, like, just fire does. It's like it's really more of an art than a science here, guys.
Well,
when
you know
we
what they
said
say.
rigged the game, we didn't mean rigged to explode.
And besides,
There wasn't a lot of clarification on that. I definitely could have misread that situation, but I kind of went with my gut on it.
But here's the risk when you play with explosives and fire. You're going to get burned.
You are going to get burned. That is a witty aphorism. That is a real commitment to understanding not only your job, but the job of your coworkers, which is real team spirit. Why don't you take a commendation dice, Cerulean?
Gladly.
Wyatt, could you explain to me why you did not bring the equipment to rig the tournament the way that we had sort of laid out in the mission briefing?
So the way that we had laid out in the mission briefing is that we were going to. I know that we had discussed adding a computerized override for the dealer so that we could basically control the dealer as though they were some kind of weird human robot. I think a cyborg is the proper nomenclature.
That's the
I don't want to
term,
be.
yeah.
Okay.
That is the preferred term. Yeah.
I'm not trying to be.
We appreciate. We you know what, Dennis? Why don't you take a commendation dice? We appreciate you taking steps to understand our cyborg coworkers.
I think Wyatt tried. Real, that was a good effort.
All right, fine. Commendation dice to Wyatt. You're putting in the effort. I appreciate that. You
It was an
understood.
attempt.
You also understood the mission, which shows a commitment to excellence. But it really is starting to feel like citation territory. So you're gonna have to really justify why you didn't bring the equipment that we talked about.
Well, it was to be perfectly honest. My issues with customs. We ended up losing that particular package.
Wyatt.
I mean, fortunately, it ended up getting shipped back to like my personal residence, so we didn't lose it in a financial sense. Then we can use it for a future mission, but it just ended up not being on like this particular one.
That's not good inventory management, Wyatt. Inventory management is one of the 7 habits of highly effective Black Ops agents. That's not good inventory management. That's gonna have to be a citation. I'm sorry.
All right, that's fair.
Now, we know that the tournament is not rigged, right? We know that the equipment's not where it needs to be. We have a bunch of explosives. You're on the boat. My question, then, is Cerulean.
Yes.
I have here a lot of great feedback about you.
Well, that's.
I have here that you used your excellent and unexpected gambling skills to overcome the failed attempt to fix the game. I also have here that you played a hell of a game of poker and brought in some solid winnings for the office. So I have 2 questions for you. We'll go through them one at a time. 1, why did you not disclaim your excellent poker skills in your corporate assessment? Don't you think that would have been a prime opportunity for us to, list that on your skills, put an item on your resume on the Workday website?
Well, to be honest, it was kind of a new hobby. I recently discovered online gambling and phone poker. And,
Is this on company time?
No, of course not. It's, in my free time, which I've earned as I haven't taken a sick day in many a year. And
that doesn't feel like personal development to me. That's going to be a citation. You got to take your sick time. It's important. We value you taking your sick time.
Honestly, work helps me focus. So
I understand that, but I this is me being worried about you as a friend. That citation is for me as a friend.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Your concern is noted, and I'm glad that we're in such a healthy environment.
Take a commendation dice for that. That's respect for authority. Dennis, Wyatt, I want you to note that. I want you to note that's what respect for authority looks like.
Wait, I'm sorry. I think I got a cold on the plane. I hate planes.
Yeah.
Maybe
You should take your sick time.
Oh, I
Maybe
take my
your
sick time.
And then some.
Yeah.
Ooh, what was? I'm sorry, Dennis. Did you have something to add?
Nothing. That was a sneeze.
Y'all are getting real close to an anarchy, Dennis. That's all I'm saying.
Anyway,
Anyway,
good.
so thank you for explaining. Thank you for explaining. We appreciate your contributions in the poker game. Take a commendation dice for that. Here's my question: where are those winnings? We don't have the paperwork filed that any real winnings came in. Seemed like it was well, we have some, and we'll get to that.
Uh-oh.
And I say that as like as I kind of pivot my elbow and just slam hard into a bag of nickels. Oh no! Right on the funny bone. Give me a second. We'll get to the nickels, but for now, I want to know where the actual money is that was won.
Oh yes. About that.
So, have you heard of BitChip?
I have heard of BitChips. It was a cryptocurrency used by the criminal elite, specifically in underground poker tournaments. I know that over the course of the operation, it somehow became a legitimate currency, and actually a lot of BitChips owners now own not quite a controlling share of the hero department, but probably a good 38% is owned by people who were once criminal owners of an illegal cryptocurrency. So you can imagine I have questions about how that went down.
37.6%, yes.
That's a real attention to detail. Take a commendation dice for that. But also take a citation dice. Don't correct me.
I think you'll find, sir, that most of our winnings were in BitChip.
Usually.
The problem here is we don't know how to turn that into money.
Well, somebody did, and I'd love to know who figured out how to turn that into real money.
Oh.
Well, while I was a little bit distracted with using my completely emotionless poker face to win us a ton of money, I cannot account for what happened to the actual chips when it was handed off.
I mean,
Wyatt?
I might have I've been working on a solution since the BitChip sort of situation came at hand, and it was weird. It was weird though, like because I feel like Dennis would have some solid information on what was going on with BitChip because I saw him at the bar with the villain's head of IT and product development.
I do have a report that says that almost exactly, so I am going to give you a citation. You shouldn't reveal your anonymous reports directly. But also we're going to pivot to Dennis because it does sound like a lot like you maybe transferred those into real money.
I was probing their IT agent for information on how to do such a thing. Though I don't have any recollection of doing it. The actual transfer into money. Though now that you mention it, they may have seen some of our paperwork.
Oh, okay. Well,
all right.
Well, hey, listen. If you've transferred it into money, that means you figured out how to get us those earnings. So why don't you take a commendation dice, Wyatt? Take a commendation dice for offering up a success that your coworker was unwilling to offer up himself. That's
I like
team
people,
spirit.
Yeah, I like to support people. Like rising tide lifts all ships. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
I will say, a lot of what went down might have been lost in some of the chaos that happened after the game.
That is true. We do have a report here.
There was an alarm.
There was some alarms went off. We have a report that some alarms went off because we have a report. Wyatt, did you bring one of your birds on the mission? Were you babysitting a bird on the mission?
It's my lucky bird. Jesse is my lucky bird. He is usually pretty calm. I think it may have been. He may have just been a little bit upset by the subsonic frequencies I was using to sort of rig the machines, definitely not any of the, like, it was a subsonic frequency to, like, mess with the video poker machines, not any of the other machines. I want to be perfectly clear about that, but I think that may have upset Jesse. That is on me. He's usually very, very calm. We take him, he plays with kids all the time. I did not think that he was going to be an issue, and also he's my lucky bird, so I figured in this sort of situation, it was a very high-stakes situation, any advantage that we could have gotten would have been good.
So that's a lot. I appreciate, we appreciate you being upfront about involve, that's great. That's great attention to detail with the subsonic frequencies with the machinery. Take a commendation dice for that. Take a citation dice, because if you're going to bring a lucky bird on assignment, we ask that it be one of the hero department's designated good luck birds. We invested a lot of money into these birds, Wyatt, and we need them used on the field, or else that's lost income.
Chartreuse is my favorite. He always smiles when I enter the bird room.
Oh, Chartreuse is so cute.
Chartreuse is like the best bird, guys.
I know. Then why did you take Chartreuse, Wyatt? That's why you're getting a citation.
That's fair. Okay.
She was probably checked out. In all fairness, she's very popular.
That's true. You know what? That's true. That's true. I'm gonna give myself a citation dice. Not that I'm in any danger of not that I'm up for a promotion, as it was made clear to me that I am not up for promotion. But I didn't check the checkout sheets on the lucky birds. So
Sir, are you feeling okay? It seems like you have something you want to talk through.
You know what? Why don't you take a commendation dice for asking Mission Control how Mission Control feels?
I just want to make sure that everyone is feeling their best.
It's great team spirit. It's great team spirit.
Kiss ass.
I'm sorry, did you say something, Dennis?
I am coming down with something.
That sure seems that way. It seems like there's something in the air. Speaking of Dennis, says here you were able to count cards, which helped them win legitimately.
Oh,
Is that correct?
That is correct. Fun fact, there are 52 cards in a deck.
That is the correct number. Well,
I don't know if card counting, though, like, not to be nitpicky or anything like that, but I don't know if card counting is necessarily legitimately winning, though.
And supersonic frequencies are?
I never claimed that they were.
Why don't you, you know what? Cerulean, take a commendation. Wyatt, that's going to be another citation. That's not team spirit. That's not team spirit.
How did that work out?
Okay, you know what? We've danced around the topic a lot, and I think we got to talk about the nickels. I really think we need to talk about the nickels. Can we talk about the nickels? Because there's so many of them. How are there so many nickels? I just need to know the mission after this happens after the tournament, right? The tournament happens. You're on the boat for a while when our server, like, our reports indicate we bugged a lot of the machines. We bugged a lot of that boat, and our reports indicate that the jackpot was won after the tournament. So I'm gonna need to know where you were after the tournament ended, where you were and what you were doing that wasn't playing these slot machines and forcing us to just hold on to all of these nickels.
Well,
there are so many nickels.
You remember how there was an alarm?
Yeah.
And, well, you know how I don't do well with loud noises.
I did not know that, but that's upsetting to hear.
It's in my psyche, Val.
Fair.
And unfortunately, I'd already punched out all the cards, so there was no one left to punch out.
Sure.
So I did a mindless, repetitive activity to calm myself.
I mean, yes. Yeah. And it had been a pretty, like, in Cerulean's defense, it had been a pretty busy weekend up until that point. So those slot machines were they were, like, statistically speaking, they were just teetering on the edge there. Also, I really have to thank Wyatt's supersonic frequencies for setting up the slot machines. What?
It was really generous of him to set that up.
Those were specifically tuned to video poker. It says so on the dial.
Hey, listen. That's a commendation dice for the both of you. That's great team spirit. You were supporting each other in a time of need. Dennis, that's going to be a citation.
Yep.
You see that? Because you weren't Nothing. Your dead silence is condemning. It's condemning.
In my defense, I do not handle drinks well. I was otherwise preoccupied.
That's fair.
I will say,
yeah, that's fair.
Dennis did help me carry all the nickels out.
Dennis, surprisingly buff.
Surprisingly buff. And so I think that kind of gets us to the bottom of the issue. We kind of have gotten to the bottom of everything. I think we're in a good place. I think we understand where. Does everybody have any other lingering questions they want to get to before we wrap the meeting?
I would recommend that the two of them get some medicine. They were coming down with an awful lot of colds earlier.
They sure seem to be. And frankly, I don't think it's really fair that our friend Cerulean got a citation for not taking a sick day, and yet here both of you are in the office risking me with whatever cold you have that seems real suspiciously timed for this meeting. So I'm going to have to give both of you a citation.
I mean, I don't think we had a choice in coming in today. We have to do our duty, of course.
Yeah,
Is that back talk?
No. I'm just saying. Like, I wouldn't have missed this for anything.
Well, that's a commitment to excellence, and that's a commendation. Any other questions? I think we're all wrapped.
Yeah.
I do have to ask,
Sure.
who picked up all the nickels from FedEx?
Yeah, you're looking at them. You're wondering why I made this meeting a Saturday. It's because I spent 4 hours going back and forth from a FedEx loading nickels into my car. I have a Nissan Stanza. Do you know how many bags of nickels that holds? 4.
2. Mission control, surprisingly buff.
Surprisingly buff? Surprisingly buff, you say?
I mean, I've seen it, like,
Yeah?
that's surprising to me. Mission Control is in the gym constantly. Mission Control is looking good.
Thank you for noticing. That's a commendation dice. You don't work out in the company gym unless you want the company to notice. That's all I'm saying. All right, so with that, I think we're going to call the meeting. Which means now it's time to roll some dice. And now it's time to figure out who's getting a promotion and who is getting burned.
God.
Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to roll all your commendation dice. You're going to set them, basically put them as a pool. If you're rolling them virtually, you're going to make a note of all of the individual numbers. The thing that matters here is just the high number from 1 to 6, and if you get any multiples of that. You don't need to do anything with that for now. Just roll the dice, make a mental note of it, because that number might change in a second. Let me know when everybody is done rolling their dice, and we'll go on to the next part.
Oh, man.
Oof.
So do we go for the highest number or the most common number?
The highest number.
Because I got like 1 6 but 4 4s.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now that you've rolled your commendation dice, if you're rolling the same pool of dice, you might want to write them down real quick. Otherwise, now you're going to roll your citation dice. Here's how citation dice work. You roll your citation dice as a pool. If any one number if any number that matches one of your citation dice, all of that number goes away. So if you rolled 5 6s on your commendation dice and 1 6 on your citation dice, all of your 6s disappear.
Ugh.
That is why even one citation dice can tank your chances at a promotion.
Damn.
So roll your citation dice and remove any matching numbers. Which is why I say it can tank your chances at promotion or do literally nothing.
Let's see.
Yeah, I ended up with a nothing.
All right.
All right, if everybody is set, post in the chat your high number, how many of that high number you have, and how many citation dice after you've removed the pool. So if you had 7 and you removed 3, you have 4 citation dice left, or 4 commendation dice left. So Meg and Bryan, you both only had one number, one each.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 6.
Okay, great.
6 and a 2.
Great. Just double checking. All right, the time mechanic works. This is a good playtest.
Hey.
Okay, so we're going to have our next steps meetings. We're going to go through piece by piece, let everybody know where they end up. So we will start with Wyatt. Unfortunately, we don't really have... We're kind of moving more out of the gadget ecosystem and more into like an app-based ecosystem, so we're actually going to have to, unfortunately, like let you go in favor of like some app developers that were able to get at a much lower rate.
I'm telling you, super spying as a service is not going to be a viable option, but whatever.
I'm just saying, I'm sorry, I understand that, but, like, listen, we're going to give you a very nice severance package, and that's when the dart hits your neck and you are dragged out of the room. Which brings us to Dennis. Dennis, had a lot of talks. We've had a lot of tough conversations. We've had, and we just wanted to let you know that, the promotion is yours. Congratulations. It is yours.
Oh my God.
Corner office, I know. Like, there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of nickels to count. And we need somebody with a keen sense of numbers to get that right.
My favorite, nickels.
I know. You're going to be counting those numbers for a very, very long time. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Which brings us to Cerulean. Cerulean. I'm sure you heard about the promotion by now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you're probably disappointed.
It's natural.
But I wanted to let you know the reason that you didn't get the promotion is because you did so well on the assignment. You did so well on the mission that you have been deemed too important for low-risk missions such as this. You are being upgraded to Alpha Omega 7 level clearance. This is the highest security clearance we have in the agency. This is a super secret promotion. Technically, you're not even on the org chart anymore. This is because, legally speaking, you are no longer going to exist. We have forged documents that saying you're dead. We have alerted all of your loved ones, family members, etc., telling them that you died in the field. But we are very excited to give you your next assignment. You see, there's actually a we say it's a fight to the death tournament, but it's sort of more of a it's sort of more like, if you know The Running Man. Are you familiar with the film The Running Man?
Unfortunately not, but I think I get the idea.
Sort of more of like, you are going to be hunted with no equipment by, because we have to test our new tracking equipment, which means we have to basically let villains know that you are a high priority target. We have to disavow your existence because, we can't let them know that this is something we're working on to infiltrate their ranks. So you are going to be hunted by high-level villains bounty hunters for the next, several weeks to a month. We really want to test its long-term viability. So, you should probably get running about now.
I do have one question.
That's when the hologram shuts off and you realize you're in a room alone by yourself as several Apache helicopters lower down.
Man.
Oh my God.
I didn't know he was reading my dream journal.
Congratulations, agents. Mission accomplished.
Yay!
Thank you, that's Jeff. Our game.
Oh, that was a lot of fun.
So much.
That was great. I love this.
Yeah.
I love this game so much.
What can I play more of this?
I guess technically today, if you're listening to this audio on the feed, you can go back to Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. Mission accomplished, the role-playing game of super spies and office meetings. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, though, let's run through our players one by one. If you have any projects you'd like to plug them. If you have any social media you want to shout them out. Let's start with Bryan.
Hi, yeah, I'm Bryan. I usually DM a podcast called The Room Where It Happened. We actually just started a new arc, if you're listening to this yesterday. So if you're looking for a good place to jump on us, that's great. It's, we're at RoomWherePod on Twitter, and you can pretty much find us, on any of the, any place you can get a podcast, you can probably find us. It's Room Where It Happened.
Ammouraz?
I'm not really on anything right now, but I'm on Twitter at Ammouraz. That's AMMOURAZZ, and I'm trying to start some stuff up. So if you keep an eye out there, I'm trying to work on some RPGs, game design stuff, and as well as a podcast. So if you keep your eye out there, maybe some news will trickle into your feed.
Yeah, that's super exciting. And Meg.
Hey, so I am Meghan Dornbrock. I do the Modifier podcast, and you can actually hear Jeff talk about Mission Accomplished in 2 days on Modifier. Yeah, I'm pretending that it's Tuesday right now. And
we all are.
And you can find Modifier at Modifier Pod on Twitter or Modifier Podcast. I don't remember right now. You can find me at my garbage Twitter at Meglish, and there's a link to it there. So just do that instead.
All right, And I am going to... I'll just do it all right now. You can find me at Party of One Pod. You can also like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/partyofonepodcast. Join our Discord community at bit.ly/partyofonediscord. Support our Patreon at patreon.com/partyofonepodcast. You can also listen to All My Fantasy Children, which is our other podcast, at allmyfantasychildren.com. Party of One is produced and edited, as always, by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. Music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Meghan, featuring the D&D Sluggers. Am I forgetting anything? I should pull up my schedule spreadsheet. I can be reached at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com, but the most important thing of all is that you head to Kickstarter right now, look up Mission Accomplished, the role-playing game of Super Spies and Office Meetings. I think it's a great game. I think that you've just heard that it's a really fun game, and I think you're going to like it a lot. I can't wait for people to have it in their hands. Yay. So that's it for me. Until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance. And until next time, mission accomplished.